1. The burden of expectation. Most of the difficulties we feel in life do not come directly from reality itself, but from the expectations we carry. We often imagine how things should unfold, how people should treat us, how plans should succeed, how life should remain fair and predictable. But when reality does not follow this script, the gap between what we expected and what actually happened becomes the source of our pain. Think about it. When someone betrays you, the pain comes not only from their action, but also from the expectation that they would always be loyal. When a plan fails, it is not only the setback that hurts, but the assumption that success was guaranteed. In this way, expectation creates a double weight. We suffer from the situation itself, and again, from our disappointment. The Stoics understood this clearly. They taught that our minds create unnecessary suffering when we demand that life work a certain way. Reality will always move according to its own order, not according to our wishes. By recognizing how much of our struggle comes from expectation, we take the first step toward freedom. Less expectation means less disappointment and more space for peace. To the Stoic view on control, the Stoics taught that one of the greatest strengths a person can develop is the ability to distinguish between what is within their control and what is not. Marcus Aurelius put it simply, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. When we spend our energy trying to control people, circumstances, or outcomes, frustration naturally follows. These things are shaped by many factors beyond us. Choices and actions, those remain in our hands. By focusing on what we can direct, we protect ourselves from unnecessary disappointment. For example, you cannot control how others behave, but you can control your response. You cannot control whether life brings sudden changes, but you can control how you adapt to them. This is not about ignoring difficulties. It is about responding with clarity instead of resistance. The Stoics believed that real freedom comes from this inner control. External events will always be uncertain, but the mind can remain steady. By training ourselves to focus on what lies within our influence, we create a foundation of calm and resilience in the middle of life's challenges. 3. Expect nothing. Accept everything. Expectation is often the hidden source of frustration. Imagine how situations should unfold, how others should behave, or how life should reward our efforts. When reality does not match those expectations, we feel hurt or disappointed. The Stoics suggested another way, to expect nothing and accept everything. This does not mean giving up or refusing to take action. It means approaching life with clear eyes, without the demand that events must always go according to our wishes. Acceptance is not weakness. It is the ability to see reality as it is, and to work with it, rather than against it. For instance, when a plan fails, expectation might say, this should not have happened. Acceptance instead says, this is what happened now. I respond. The first reaction locks us in frustration, while the second opens the door to learning and adaptation. To expect nothing is to free ourselves from unnecessary suffering. To accept everything is to remain steady when life changes direction. Together, they create a mindset that allows us to act with clarity and live with less inner conflict. It is not surrendered as the foundation of strength and peace. For turning adversity into action, life brings challenges to everyone: loss, failure, unexpected change. Our first reaction is often resistance. We think this should not have happened or I deserved a different outcome. But this mindset only adds more weight to the difficulty. The Stoics encouraged a different approach. See adversity as material to work with, not as something that blocks your path. When something goes wrong, acceptance allows us to shift the question from why me to what can I do now. This simple change transforms frustration into direction. Losing a job, for example, may feel like an end, but it can also open space for growth, learning, or a new beginning. The event itself does not define us, our response does. The Stoics often reminded themselves that obstacles are not barriers, but steps along the way. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The obstacle becomes the way." This means that difficulties are not interruptions to our journey, they shape it. By turning adversity into action, we train ourselves to meet challenges with steadiness instead of despair. We stop wasting energy on wishing things were different, and instead invest that energy in moving forward with clarity and resilience. 5 daily practices of the Stoics. The Stoics did not just speak about wisdom, they practiced it every day. Strength came from small, consistent habits that trained the mind to stay balanced no matter what life brought. These practices remain just as useful today. One of their key exercises was premeditatio malorum, or the anticipation of difficulties. Each morning, they would remind themselves that plans might fail, people might disappoint, and challenges might appear. By preparing their minds in advance, they reduced the shock when difficulties arrived. They also emphasized presence. Marcus Aurelius often wrote about the importance of focusing on the present moment rather than being pulled into regrets about the past or fears about the future. The present is the only place where action and acceptance are possible. Another practice was detachment, not coldness, but the understanding that external events do not define personal worth. This mindset allowed them to stay steady when outcomes were uncertain. Finally, they cultivated gratitude, not only for ease or comfort, but also for struggle, time, and the simple gift of being alive. These daily practices helped them build resilience and clarity, creating a mindset that could face change with calm acceptance. 6. Living without unnecessary suffering. Much of the stress we carry does not come from life itself, but from the weight of our own expectations. We often want people to act a certain way, circumstances to unfold according to our plans, or outcomes to always match our efforts. When reality moves differently, we feel let down. This creates a second layer of suffering on top of the challenge itself. The Stoics taught that we can reduce this unnecessary suffering by letting go of rigid expectations. We cannot control how others behave, how events unfold, or whether plans succeed without obstacles. But we can control how we choose to respond. By loosening our grip on how things must be, we allow life to be as it is, without adding frustration to the situation. This shift does not mean giving up. It means working with reality instead of against it. When a friend disappoints us, we can choose patience instead of bitterness. When plans fail, we can adapt instead of dwelling on how they should have gone. Living without unnecessary suffering is about freeing ourselves from demands the world never promised to meet. It is a lighter way of walking through life, steadier, calmer, and more resilient. 7. Freedom through acceptance. True freedom is not found in controlling everything around us, but in learning to accept life as it is. We stop demanding that events, people, or circumstances follow our personal script. We release ourselves from a constant cycle of frustration. Acceptance creates space for clarity and calm. The Stoics believed that strength lies in meeting reality with open eyes. If something changes, instead of resisting, we adjust. If loss comes, we grieve, but we do not break. This mindset does not remove hardship, but it prevents us from being crushed by what we cannot control. Acceptance is not passivity. It is not about sitting still and doing nothing. Instead, it is the starting point for wise action. By saying, "This is what has happened now. What can I do?" we move forward with resilience. This shift allows us to live with steadiness when others are caught in disappointment or anger. Freedom through acceptance means living lighter. It means carrying fewer demands, fewer rigid expectations, and fewer inner conflicts. Life will always bring change, but when we accept it and respond with clarity, we discover a strength that depends only on the mind and cannot be taken away.